Welcome back to the kickoff. I am here with Jacob after yesterday's Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2 result. Arsenal go 2 points off of Liverpool? Yeah. A massive win for them. Last minute, I was weirdly, I was sad, but I was like, yeah,
really?
It's been coming. Like,
did you feel it coming second half?
The whole game, I felt it coming. The whole fucking game. Like, this was normally Newcastle Arsenal. We're absolutely going blow for blow with Arsenal. We're punching for punch with you. And actually, because we're kind of the antidote to Arsenal. Arsenal have a lot of good qualities, but we have different qualities. And some of the things that Arsenal do, we do better. So we've got an edge on Arsenal when we play you. In this game, I felt like we weren't there. The intensity, that is our identity, according to Eddie Howe. I think because of more fixtures, because of some players who are bang out of form, I just thought, you know what? Even with the refereeing decisions, which we can get into, I couldn't sit there and go, we've been robbed. No, we haven't been robbed. We've been beaten by the better team. They deserved it.
Well, I appreciate you saying it, mate. I mean, look, it's one of them. I think we come away with 2.5 XG to your 0.5. And that's without, we'll get into it in a minute, that's without the potential penalty where Gyökeres goes down after the contact with Nick Pope.
Yeah.
Do I think we deserved it? I've got to be honest with you. That first half, I went into halftime raging because I think there was a naivety on our part. I mean, Gabriel looking for a free kick when he's had the slightest contact from Voltemada, like, I was pulling my hair out because it's like, who has told these players they're going to get these decisions? Who has told even the penalty to a certain extent? Gyökeres, look, there is contact. Pope gets some contact on the ball. Who told him if you go down, you'll get a pen? You won.
Can I tell you who told him?
Go.
Mikel Arteta told him, because if you look at Arsenal, you lot, far more than any other team that I've seen play Newcastle this season, go down really easily as a group of players. And I can't think it's just coincidental. Like, and I don't mean the Gyökeres one as much, because I think every striker takes that foul and goes down. But as a group of players, I think they go down too easy.
My frustration.
Voltemada did it. If Voltemada gets clipped, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't like he got punched, but we all know modern game football. We've seen, all you have to do is touch someone. If they go down, you're getting sent off. I don't think we've been coached to be, as much as I hate that side of football, in the modern game, it is the way people win matches now. And it's been happening since David Beckham got sent off in 98, for God's sake. So,
I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, Jorginho getting a forearm from Bruno Guimaraes in this game. He goes down. It doesn't get given. I mean, the reality is that the officials we're dealing with in the Premier League, there's so much inconsistency now that, and I felt this a lot over the last couple of years, especially come to St James's Park, you cannot rely on getting a decision. Like, you can't go into these games and finish, 1xG for you, 1xG for the other team. But we went down, we should have got 10 men. No, I'm sorry. Like, I watched that United-Chelsea game a couple of weeks ago. Robert Sanchez gets a touch. The United player still goes down. He's off the pitch. In our game, we go to VAR. It's not even a pen.
We've had a similar thing in the last 2 weeks. Voltemada got pulled in the box and he went down that time. He didn't get the penalty, even though it was a clear pull, which we were told at the start of the season would be given. And obviously in this game, we had a potential handball. We can't rely on these fuckers. They're like,
and this is it. You and I can go blow for blow here. I can talk about, I think there was a Martinelli shot in the second half. It hits like, there's no point, because I can say it should be a foul. And then you go, yeah, we should have had a foul. Next week, we'll see a foul given for something else that won't be given again for the rest of the season. The only thing you can do with these referees is play to the whistle. Don't expect a call, as Gabriel did, and it drove me insane. Gabriel, our big tough man centre-back, going down like that. Raya expecting, like, don't do it. Play to the whistle. And if you don't think you're going to get a decision, you have to do what we did in the second half, which is just press on, throw the kitchen sink at it, take shots. And that's where I felt in the second half, we did enough to win that game. And I appreciated Arteta's response in the second half, which was going for it, taking the handbrake off, keeping Eze central, And I think eventually just breaking the door down in terms of Newcastle's
It shows that the tactics that we talked about earlier in the season on the kickoff, we said, where's the aggression? Where's the belief? It was there. And unfortunately, it takes desperation sometimes for people to get that way. But actually, I think Arteta, if you're an Arsenal fan, you want to hope that he's seen the light there, because at 1-0 down, Arsenal responded exactly how champions, if they are going to be champions, should respond. And they were breathing down our necks, and it just did feel, it felt inevitable from the kickoff. I thought, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Newcastle are changing, we're a different side. We've changed. That starting 11 was very similar to a lot of starting 11s that have beat Arsenal, aside from the fact that Alexander Isak wasn't there, and Isak obviously usually scores. Guess what? Valdemar scored. He scored. The difference is the whole game looked completely different, and that is not a coincidence. Eddie Howe has built a side, and I've got to give him credit. He's built a very competitive side. The problem is why are we competitive in games usually? What are we known for? Physicality, right? Yeah. Now, physicality is a lot harder to have the advantage of when you've got as many games as we're playing right now. The legs in midfield that normally dominate are tired. And what do you rely on when your physicality is a little bit less than usual? Technique. And that is something that we are greatly lacking. And when it comes to taking pressure off of the back four, and guess what? We conceded 2 headers. We had 4 centre-backs on the pitch when we conceded 2 headers. Criminal. And don't get me wrong, Botman and Chow, I thought, had great games.
Agreed.
But, it was frustrating. And Nick Pope deserves a bit of criticism for his distribution, which led to the corner. But regardless, who wasn't helping? The midfield, the wingers. Our midfield, fuck me, we've got 2 Brazilians in midfield, and as much as I love them, you wouldn't know it sometimes, because technically they're careless with the ball. People criticise Lewis Miley a lot in our fan base, right, because he's a little too safe. You need safe sometimes. You need to keep the ball. You need to keep it safe. You need to keep it basic. There was a point where Bruno Guimaraes came to receive the ball deep, and I could see panic. I could see the panic on him. And I'm thinking, we need to be way better at keeping the ball if we're going to be a serious outfit. And technically, when we do play the ball out wide, why are we not taking men on and creating chances? And I'm hearing journalists up north talking about Valdemar being the problem. I'm thinking, are you mental? Like, the kids came in a new league. We've seen how much other players are struggling. Wirtz, Sesko. This guy has had 2 half chances and buried them in 3 games. He's been starved of service. And it is a disgrace that the pressure isn't coming more on Anthony Gordon, Alanga, Murphy and Barnes, who have been atrocious. They've been absolutely atrocious, all 4 of them. And the fact that we've spent as much money on Barnes, Gordon and Alanga as we have, and Murphy is arguably the best of the 4. I mean, we have to talk about Anthony Gordon right now.
Yeah.
Especially because he's been space jammed. They've took the talent from him. The cartoons have come and buggered off with the talent, because I can't believe the drop-off. He used to be so forward in terms of getting on the last shoulder, trying to beat a man, stressing out the opposition's defence. He's so easy to play against. His confidence has gone. Since Gareth Southgate did what he did to him, he's never been the same, man.
I thought Timber did. I'll be honest with you. You talk about the midfield. That's a midfield that I fear when we go to St James's Park, as you say, because of the physicality. But I agree with you. There just wasn't a period in that game where Newcastle's midfield put their feet on the ball and went, "We're keeping this for 10 minutes, and we're going to start piling pressure
We're at home
onto Arsenal." No, but then in terms of Gordon, I've got to be honest. He's another one. When we go to St James's Park, I'm almost worried about Ben White playing sometimes, because I've seen him skin him. I've seen him get behind him. And I looked at that front 3 yesterday and I was like, look, Valdemar obviously a threat. He's always going to be a threat in the box with his height. But Gordon was the one I was worried about. I was like, especially because Mosquera was playing right centre-back, I was like, if Timber pushes on, that is the space. That's where you have to hit Arsenal. Make that young centre-back worry about playing on the transition, about Gordon going behind him. He just never took that space, Brian. He never made that threat. And that was the spot.
He's coming so deep, and he's trying to be some sort of ball into feet guy.
He's like a playmaker. He's trying to be a playmaker. It's not his game.
That's not you, mate. You're an out-and-out winger. Get as far up the pitch as you can, commit men, and cause havoc, and get the ball in the box for your striker. I'm going to come to Valdemara's defence. I think this kid has got a lot of talent, but he's not got the service to show it. And the fact that it was Tonali who set the fucking goal up for him, it wasn't even a winger. They're offering, and this isn't just in this game, this is all season. And yes, we've been without a striker, so I accept that for some of the games. But since we've been watching Valdemara playing this game in our team, there's been too many people going, we've got to change how we play. No, we just got to get service to a striker. Yeah. It's really not that complicated.
I think if you look at the two toughest games, you played us and Liverpool, like you have to, you're not a bad team. This is the thing with Newcastle. They're not a bad team. They haven't become a bad team overnight. Obviously, they've lost a world-class player. But if you look how competitive you've been in those two games, there's plenty there. But
and Barcelona, that was the other game.
Yeah.
Like, we've been beaten by three of the best teams in the world. And I'm not panicking about that. I'm more panicking about the consistent issues that have not been, like, these are things I've been on about, the lack of technical ability. Eddie's made us amazing off the ball, and we've had the success for that. But there has to come a time where a team goes from great off the ball, okay on the ball technically, to take the next step. Buy a player with that technical ability to unlock a defence from someone who is going to pull strings in the midfield and be a bit more of a baller. And we just not bother doing that. And I'm so confused as to why. I don't want to make it all about Newcastle. I do have to come back to Arsenal. Yeah. For me, this showed how serious you are in the title race, but you were saying before we came on here that you were a little underwhelmed. What was that for?
I think first half, I looked at us and there was just a bit of naivety about the way we were going about the game. As you say, we're going down, and I thought I liked the lineup, because what I was worried we were going to do, and I think we've done this in the past, we've come to St James's Park, and listen, every other fixture in the league, we're the physical team. We're the bullies. We're willing to run through players. We're willing to win second balls, challenge, press, all of that. And we go to St James's Park, we play it the same way. The best game I've seen us play at St James's Park over the last few years, you might remember, I think it was April 2023, where we played Georginio in midfield. And it's like we went, right, let's not fight them. Let's keep the ball. Let's play progressive. And let's pass it around a bit and not let Joe Linton and Bruno, stop the game, get free kicks, get set pieces. And I liked that we played Eze. I still think we're learning how to use Eze as a 10. I think we're used to a player like Ødegaard who wants to come deep, receive off centre-backs and build slowly. Eze's not that guy. Eze wants to play direct. He wants to get behind the striker and take shots. And I think we're still getting used to that a little bit. As I say,
can I just agree with you? By the way, I actually think you played into our hands in that you
first off.
It wasn't played on grass, right? It was fucking all over the place. It was a physical game, and each team was just thumping it back and forward. That's how I wanted Arsenal to play. Yeah. But just we were miles off of being able to actually compete with you in that game.
Well, you say that, but I mean, like, it felt, again, we're playing for set pieces. Like what, against Dan Burn? I mean, ironically, we win the game with two headers at the end, but I think, ironically, second half, it was almost the opposite. I thought when we went 1-0 down, I thought this plays into Newcastle's hands. They can stay compact, they can keep us away. As you say, 4 centre-backs, they can head everything out of the box and they can hit us on the break. I was so surprised it took so long for you to get Elanga on. I've got to be honest, I thought you were going to start with him.
I couldn't believe it.
For me, that is kryptonite to us, because Calafiori's a good player on the left-hand side of our defence. He hates those wingers who can play direct, play fast, make him twist. It's like, just get him on and get behind us and he's scary.
I was texting my mates, like, why the fuck have we not got Elanga on? He's rapid. They're committing so many men forward. We've got to give them a threat, and there's no one faster in the league probably. But Eddie, credit to him, he eventually brought him on, but Eddie's very cautious, and if there's one thing that I do find frustrating about him is loyalty to certain players, and also just the cautiousness of, and yet, like, he does something as wild as sticking Dan Burn at left back against Saka, and I'm like, he hasn't played left back in ages, Dan Burn, and he hasn't got the legs anymore to do that. Why have you got Lewis Hall? Why are you resting Lewis Hall? This is clearly the right game for him to play in. There was a lot of negativity and a lot of frustrating feelings about the game, to be honest.
Mate, it reminded me a little bit of us playing City last week. And it's like, I think Arteta in that game trusted more senior players in Trossard and Marino, but didn't do the things that City wouldn't have wanted us to do. City wouldn't have wanted Eze in midfield. They wouldn't have wanted Martinelli's pace. And similar with you, it's like, I get that he's trusting Murphy, right? More senior player, knows his system maybe a little bit better than Elanga does. Elanga's still learning it, but it's like, if you ask any Arsenal fan what we wouldn't have wanted to face, it's Elanga playing direct behind us. If you think about the midfield, like, don't get me wrong, I hate playing that midfield. I know they're going to go physical, but it's like, if you'd have brought Miley on, who's got that out ball, who's got the ability to find those wingers and put them through, that suddenly pins us back when we're throwing everything at you.
And this game is like a Joe Linton game for me. Like, so I get why he went with him, but the sloppiness on the ball in the midfield, mate, it's really criminal sometimes, and it's unacceptable. Actually, like, you've got to be better on the ball. You've got to be able to make basic passes, man. And
this is where someone like Declan Rice suddenly grows into a game like that, because, mate, he suddenly, and bear in mind, I don't think he's been there this season. I think in the game against City and the game against Liverpool as well, I don't think he's looked like a £105 million midfielder. But yesterday, it's like, as the game went on and other people were getting tired, he was just finding more and more levels of energy. He was all over the pitch. Every second ball, he competed it and won it. And I feel like he was the one who almost dragged us over the line. I don't know if you've seen the clip. Have you seen Marino, after he scores the goal, Marino's trying to get over to the away fans and celebrate in front of our fans. Declan Rice literally grabs him by the shirt and says, no, back, we go now. It's almost like he learned from that City game. No, we're not going and celebrating. We want 3 points, not 1. And I feel like over the last 2 weeks, in terms of Arteta's reactions to going behind, his reactions to maybe going a little bit conservative in terms of his lineup, and the players' reactions to going, no, 1 point is not enough. It's exactly what I said on our last call, Brian. We can't grind out a title. We haven't got something to hold on to. If you want it, you got to be aggressive and you got to go and take it. And I feel like the players and the manager are slowly starting to learn, you've got to be the protagonists of this league title, because I don't know how much you watched of Liverpool. I don't see a team that are going to walk the league. I really don't.
I think Liverpool have got a lot of match-winning players in terms of their ability to kill games off is unbelievable. Like, and when Isak starts clicking, it's going to be very difficult to beat them, because they're just not going to need to be that much better than you in the game. They're just going to need opportunities, and they'll kill games off through just a lethal shot.
And that's what they've done. Let's have it right. That is what they've done. I mean, were they the better team against you? And I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, but I don't think they were like massively better than a 10-man Newcastle.
You're totally right, and that the chickens came home to roost against Crystal Palace, and that had been coming. They'd had a few flat performances where performances where it was touch and go whether they deserved to win, but they got it in the last 5-10 minutes or whatever. But that's the thing with Arsenal, is Arsenal were without doubt better than the Liverpool team that came to Newcastle, where it was 10 men. We pushed them to the bitter end. Yeah. Like, I was really impressed with Arsenal, and Declan Rice in particular. You know, I have a lot of respect for Bruno Guimaraes. He's a club legend to me. I'll love him forever. Like, I just absolutely love the guy. But like, when you see Declan Rice in this game against Bruno, you see the levels. And that's and I wouldn't want to say that, you know, but I have to, do you know what I mean? Because you see the ability he has to do a bit of everything, whereas Bruno, he just fell short in this game, as did a lot of them. But
he's a different athlete, Brian. He's a different athlete to Bruno. Freak, like, he's a freak of a player, and these games suit Declan Rice. These games where the pitch is bigger, when it's about, you know, second balls, pressing, like, I don't think he suits our games against Manchester City, because Manchester City, it's super technical, it's played in small spaces, and he looks like a clumsy West Ham centre-back. The irony is, I was thinking about this as I was turning the game on yesterday. I was like, there's a world in which PSR doesn't exist, in which Newcastle are allowed to spend as much as they want to try and challenge Manchester City. Mate, Declan Rice is a Newcastle player. He suits your club. Yeah. Like, if you think about the identity of Newcastle Football Club, that he is Newcastle. He is. He's a
turbocharged version of a lot, because he's got more technical ability than our midfield does. Tonali, actually, to be fair to him, he's a Rolls Royce. To be fair, I think Tonali still came up with a bit of credit. But yeah, mate, I think
Where does it leave Newcastle? It's 3 points dropped. It leaves you obviously lower half of the table. Where do you see Newcastle now? Looking at the rest of the clubs that you're competing with, obviously Chelsea have dropped points now. Can you still compete for Europe? Bearing in mind what you've said, that maybe the physical edge of this Eddie Howe team is dropping because of the fixtures you got.
We've been really unlucky this season with the absence of Alexander Isak early on, and that's fucked his start as well, so I'm glad. But if we'd had a striker early on, we would without doubt have more. Even if we just had Voldemort in the summer, for example, we'd have more points on the board. So I have to take that into account, and that a few of those draws would have been wins. But we can't do nothing about that now. I think we've also been really unlucky with the fact that Wissa got injured as soon as he signed. Jacob Ramsey got injured as soon as he signed. Those were two players who would have been consistently in and out the team, and we in the rotation wouldn't have been as hard, and therefore we would have been a bit fresher in games like this. So I still think we can qualify for Champions League because teams who we should be worried about, like Chelsea, have not started, as you predicted, with their attack and the lack of attacking power, which Josh was still shaking his head at yesterday. And I'm like, I've got to say, I think it's like, I said to him, he's been proven right already, Jacob. Like that, that gives me he has though. You did call it, and it's absolutely been already proven correct that Chelsea are also in a difficult situation. And I do think that, we can get this right, and I do believe in Voldemort. I think we've signed a player with massive quality and also very just unusual. And then when Wissa starts playing, we know he can score goals. That's not up for debate. So I've still got hope. It's just my main worry is the wide players. They have been so bad.
Here's my question.
If they don't turn it on, we're fucked.
Anthony Gordon, right, with Isak leaving, Anthony Gordon should be saying to himself, I am Newcastle United's best player now. I am the marquee of this attack. I'm the man. He doesn't look like he wants to be. Do you know what I mean by that? I think with Isak alongside him, he was the second man. He was assisting. Defenders were more focused on Isak than him. That maybe afforded him a little bit more space. The Liverpool game completely loses his head. A tackle on Van Dijk he doesn't need to make. He's off the pitch. As you say, yesterday, rather than running behind Timber and challenging that young centre back in Mosquera, he's coming deep. He's not stretching us. For me,
Voldemort actually helps players like Elanga and Gordon more than arguably any striker in the Premier League.
More than Isak.
Because his lingo play, Isak's a selfish number 9, and that's fair enough. They're different, styles of striker. Voldemort is a lot more, let me bring you into the game. Let me hold the ball up. Let me take a lovely little touch, turn away, and send you on your way. He's ready to do that for you to help wingers get better amount of goals at the end of the season, better amount of assists. But they're just not fucking on the same wavelength as him in terms of he's too smart for them. Remember when Dimitar Berbatov came to the Premier League and he'd probably do things that no one was ready for yet. He's doing little touches and then Gordon will get the ball and he'll just fuck it. And I'm thinking, you need to level up here, mate, because you're getting paid far too much money to be putting in performances like this. And it isn't just Gordon, but my standards for Gordon are probably higher than some of the other lads.
They should be.
Elanga's just come to the club. Murphy was a championship player in my eyes until last season. And I just think, like you said, you are supposed to be one of the main men and he needs to step the fuck up. So unless the wingers do that, we are going to, as I said in my tweet yesterday, if you don't keep the ball well and your wingers don't create chances for your striker, you're not winning football matches. So, to blame it on Voldemort, I think is an insanity of a take. And I actually think he's been my oh shit, we aren't totally fucked without Isak. Someone can stick the ball in the net. Brilliant. And I think I've seen him with the ball at his feet and he's better than he is in the air. So just give him the fucking chances and maybe we'll make Champions League. But Europa League is definitely what I'm expecting right now. I think and also I am worried because other teams are finding their feet. And this is where the excuses go out the window. Fucking Sunderland are finding their feet and they're a bunch of strangers. Do you know what I mean? That's making it worse.
You've got to catch that. If Sunderland finish above Newcastle, I mean, it's unthinkable, right? But you look at the start of that.
You have no idea how many Sunderland fans will be tweeting me, my life won't be worth living.
In terms of Arsenal, how do you see this leaving? Because I look at this and I agree with you that this puts us in a really interesting position. Obviously, Liverpool play Chelsea next weekend. We've got West Ham at home. That should be 3 points. We could be going into that next international break potentially ahead of Liverpool.
And I think the only question mark I've got around the team is who puts the ball in the back of the net in terms of who grabs and you mentioned Gyökeres not looking the finished article earlier in the season. Havertz probably a better option than him. And I do get that. After watching him though, what I'll give him credit for is he was up against Botman and Chow, who are two of the most athletic centre-backs in the country. And I think Chow, he's a freak of an athlete. Like, I'm really impressed with him so far. He's so quick for a centre-back, so strong. And they were just bullying him as best as they could, but he kept fucking trying, coming back for more. He was fighting. And that persistence and that I won't give up against some more because Newcastle have got before this game, best defensive record in the country, by the way.
Yep.
Right? So when you get up against some more lesser centre-backs, I do think he will get enough success to still have a solid season, even if it's not like top goal scorer. I think Arsenal can win the league. And I said it at the start of the season, I picked them to win the league. I don't know if the Isak factor will be the deciding one. But right now, you look the more balanced side because Liverpool's backline, they rely, like, Alisson is having to have some worldies, and that's just not fair. Like, he can't do that every game.
No, and you look at, without getting Geordie, they're now relying on Joe Gomez as a third centre-back. He's never fit himself, so if anything happens to Konate or Van Dijk, and listen, I've heard whispers that Konate is going to be signing a pre-contract with Madrid in January, then obviously Mo Salah...
And he's shite right now. Konate is shite right now.
So I look at us, I think... In the last 2 games, it's the players we can bring off the bench. We can just change a game at 60, 70 minutes in a way that no other team...
Mate, you brought Odegaard on.
It's crazy.
Who does that?
As you said about Gyökeres, he doesn't stop running. My fear, and this is a fear I had in the summer that I think is playing out a bit, he was fast and strong in Portugal. As you said about Newcastle's backline, it is a different game in England. Like the speed and the strength of the defenders here. And I think what you really see with Gyökeres is not getting shots off. He hasn't got the time in the box to get a shot off. He hasn't got that yard of pace to get a shot away. Yeah. It's going to be interesting when we get Havertz back. So I think if you actually look at Gyökeres' price tag, he's a lot cheaper than Voltemada. And I think he's not really for these games, Gyökeres. I don't think he would have played this game. I don't think he'd have played Old Trafford, City or Liverpool. He's for your Fulhams at home. We drew 14 games last season. And I think Gyökeres is there to get the goals in those games to stop us dropping points like that.
Yeah.
What's going to be really interesting for Arsenal, I think Eze played that 10 yesterday and he played it like a proper 10. He
was frightening. That shot he had, that Nick Pope saved, and I got to give credit because Nick Pope made some very good saves in the game despite the mistakes. That was the point in the game for me. Do you know in a boxing match where the opponent lands a clean blow on your chin and you go, shit.
They've got power. They've got power.
No, but that's when you know I'm probably going to lose this. So let me just tuck up and hope for the best. That's what that felt like. You landed the first shot on us and I was like, that should have been a goal, that. And we're probably going to lose this. And that was when I accepted it then. So when it finally came, I was like, But this is it in Eze. Quality footballer.
But I think in Saka, we've had that guy for the last couple of years. That would be Saka taking that shot last year or the year prior. Now we've got 2 of them in him and Eze. The question for Arteta, because I think we've played Eze a couple of times on the left, a couple of times in the middle. I think he does look slightly better in the middle. I like him in the middle. But how do you squeeze him, Ødegaard, Rice and Zubimendi into a 3-man midfield? How do you do that?
I don't think you do. I think you need a squad. I think with Champions League football, you need, there's one thing we're realising, you need strength and depth, and Arsenal have that. And there's also the question marks about Ødegaard. You know, I watched a clip that you were on another show and about the 500 game mark that Ødegaard's coming up to.
Scary.
And how, it hit me like, fuck me, you've got a point, like, because players do tend to drop off a cliff apparently around that 500 game mark because it is just, it's like boxing. thing is, like, it's like, how many fights have you had is your age in boxing. How many games have you had in football, like Raheem Sterling, who's still, quite young, but his career is nosediving because the legs can't just keep going like that. And I think managing Odegaard's game time is a smart thing to do. And I don't think, for me personally, how you said, you want to do what your opponents don't want you to do. Eze in the number 10 scared me a shitload more. And for good reason.
Well, I think it's interesting when Odegaard did come on the pitch, he basically replaced Zubimendi and he sat at the base and there was some nice balls through. That one to Lewis Skelly. He splits the lines, he finds him, but he's not doing... I think Eze had 4 shots in that game. I don't remember the last time Odegaard had 4 shots in a game.
Exactly. And that's what you want as a title-winning team. You want to be more on the front foot, more attacking. And I think that was a real smart move from Arteta. I think we've covered a lot there. Just to finish on it, are you now feeling a bit more confident about this title race?
Mate, do you remember the last call we had? I said if we lose at St James's Park, I'm calling it title race over. And I was ready to. At half-time, mate. At half-time, I was looking at the Ryder Cup. I was like, I need to get it to goal. I need to learn to stop doing that, and all Arsenal fans do. I'll give you an interesting stat. Not last season, the season before. The title that City won, with 2 more points than we did when we got 89 points. Liverpool were 8 points ahead of Arsenal in January. And we finished ahead of them as they finished third. So me losing my head in September needs to stop, as does all Arsenal fans. But we've got a run now. I think for the next 2 months, we basically stay in London. We don't go far outside of London. We're always the kings of London. We always finish with more points than any other club in London. I think over the next 2 months, we're going to learn a lot about Arsenal, about Arteta. Havertz will come back. Odegaard will get reintegrated. Saka's obviously back now. Over the next 2 months, we need to make a statement and say, we're not here to be second again. We're not here to be also-rans. We're not here to just watch Liverpool integrate Isak. We have to be ready to do what we did this weekend, which is watch Liverpool slip and then counter and then take those points. And the next 2 months are going to really tell a lot about where Arsenal are.
The best compliment I can give Arsenal after that is I've not felt so helpless, like as watching Newcastle, like it just felt like that. Even with the goal, like this is coming. And it felt so inevitable. Whereas, when Liverpool did it to us, it felt like a smash and grab. It felt unjust. You know what I mean? This was very justified. And the one thing that I've always agreed with you on is good defences win titles generally. And Liverpool's defence does not look good enough right now. And even as amazing as their attack is, they're still struggling for Wirtz to find his feet. Isak's still a bit rusty. I think there's a massive chance for Arsenal. This is the most like, all right, they've got a huge chance here because they're not solely reliant on Saka, for example, because other players are coming to the table. This season just got more exciting because I was worried that Liverpool were going to run away with it. We'll wrap that up there. Don't forget to check out all of Jacob's stuff that he's doing. The Screen Rot podcast, fantastic podcast. If you haven't already, search it. It's funny as fuck. And hit the like button, subscribe. We'll catch us on the next one.